So according to Yahoo Sports, if the XFL lasts just 3 seasons, it will be the most successful competitor to the NFL in the last 50 years. Yeah, that's a random stat, but I thought it was interesting. So week 1 of the XFL 2.0 has come and gone. We had moments that inspired the imagination, a few moments that maybe fell flat, a ton of positive energy surrounding the new league, and maybe some not so positive energy injected here and there. Today I want to recap the whirlwind that was week 1 in the XFL. We're talking scores, standout players, TV ratings, news, notes, and other cool stuff like that. Yo, if you're brand new here, consider subscribing and enabling your notification. If you enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up and hit me up in the comments section. OG subs, y'all already know what time it is, fellas. Cue the wang. So Saturday gave us 2 entertaining games with each of the winning teams scoring 30+ points. And the good thing about these games was each of the losing teams also provided some good competition, even though things may have gotten away from them as the game went along. But the high-scoring, fast-paced action made a great impression with the fans. The DC Defenders took out the Seattle Dragons 31-19, while the Houston Roughnecks defeated the LA Wildcats 37-17. Two of the major catalysts for those Saturday games being so damn good were Cardale Jones and PJ Walker. Cardale came into the game with a national championship already in his bag and a legion of fans already primed and ready to show him support. This included music sensation John Legend and current Washington Redskins starting quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Cardale made some Big Ben type plays, breaking tackles and throwing first downs with dudes draped all over him. He finished the game with 291 yards through the air, 28 yards on the ground, and 2 touchdowns. Another standout from the game was Austin Proehl, son of 2-time Super Bowl champion Ricky Proehl. Austin had a nice little day, bruh. 5 catches for 88 yards and 2 TDs. Now, I do have to point out he had a costly mistake toward the end of the game where he slipped down and it led to a pick 6. That pretty much sealed the deal on their chances. But all in all, dude was making plays and he was one of my favorite players to watch in that game. So I had to give him a shout out in this video. All right, moving on to Houston versus LA. If we're judging off one game and that's all we have to judge off right now, this can change drastically. We'll see where it goes. But after 1 week, PJ Walker looks like he could be the top quarterback in the league. He accounted for 298 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. He did throw 1 late game interception, but overall, he looked sharp, had a cannon for an arm, great athleticism, and a presence, man. A presence out there on that field, like he belonged there, like he know exactly what he's doing and he was ready to go. And I'm telling you, dog, if he can keep that up, he could become the face of the league. But after week 1 is definitely a toss-up between PJ and Cardale. Now, the standout player from LA was wide receiver Nelson Spruce. 11 grabs for 103 yards, great performance in a loss. And of course, I can't move on without highlighting Shawn Oakman, former Baylor star. Check out my What Happened to Shawn Oakman video if you have not seen it. Amazing story, but an amazingly sad story. He's looking for redemption in the XFL. Shawn definitely made his presence felt. He actually had a couple penalties, but he also had 2 quarterback hurries, a sack, and a pass deflection. Pretty solid day for a cat who haven't played any big time football since 2015. He led the team in QB hurries and he was the only Wildcats player to record a sack. So he was dominant out there. And I don't even think he started the game. But going forward, all I'm saying is the man can't be blocked. Put him on the field. Let's eat. You know what I'm saying? All right, moving on to Sunday's games. And I got to admit right at the gate, Sunday's games were not as exciting as Saturday's game. That had a ton to do with the quarterback play. Now, we're going to talk about Dallas in a second. They were actually missing their starting quarterback, Landry Jones. So I definitely understand that. And I'm not trying to jump down their throats or nothing. I'm just saying from a viewing standpoint, the QB play overall, although there was a couple standouts we'll talk about in a second, but the QB play overall was not as good as it was on Saturday. See, on Saturday, we already talked about Cardale and PJ and how they really elevated their play. But even the 2 losing quarterbacks in both of those games had their moments and they made some big plays. Sunday opened up with the New York Guardians versus the Tampa Bay Vipers, and Tampa Bay's Aaron Murray really struggled and he was trending all over Twitter for all the wrong reasons. Now, he did throw for 231 yards by the end of it, but he completed a minuscule 47% of his passes, and he threw 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. Now, the Vipers also have Quentin Flowers, and they were kind of running a little bit of a 2-quarterback system, and I gotta say, when Quentin Flowers was out there, the offense definitely looked like they moved a lot better. Still, for some strange reason, he was only allowed to throw 2 whole passes, one of which he completed for 37 yards. And it wasn't like a gadget player, nothing like that. He dropped back, stepped up, threw it 37 yards. Man, a great throw too. So while I'm not here to jump down Aaron Murray's throat, like that is not what this series is intended to do, I gotta say, I was pretty surprised that Quentin Flowers wasn't playing more. I understand a coach not wanting to give up on his starters so soon, but you guys only managed 3 points, which is the lowest in the league. So you definitely have to consider starting Quentin Flowers. Now, despite the fact that they had the lowest point total and did not manage a single touchdown, I do want to give love to one Tampa Bay Vipers player. He's not the only player that played well, but he was just the standout from the game. And that's going to be former Jackson State wide receiver, Jackson State HBCU down in Mississippi, by the way. For those of y'all who don't know, I went to Southern, so I'm very happy to see cats from the SWAC out here eating and making a living. You know what I'm saying? It's great. Anyway, Daniel Williams went for 123 yards on 6 catches, so dude definitely did his thing. Now, the New York Guardians outclassed the Vipers the entire game. Quarterback Matt McGloin was solid and he got the job done. But the real standouts for New York were cats on the defensive side of the ball. We got to talk about Rotimi, DN from Old Dominion. This dude went off, bro. 9 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 quarterback hurries, a sack, and a forced fumble. He and that New York defense were an absolute problem, and you gotta give them credit for holding the Vipers to 3 points the entire game. The final game was between the St. Louis Battlehawks and the Dallas Renegades. Now, this game wasn't bad, but it definitely lost some of its luster because starting quarterback and the guy who I believe they intend to be the face of the league, Landry Jones. He's got one of the best profiles of all the quarterbacks, and if I'm not mistaken, he was the first player picked in the entire league. Unfortunately, he ended up missing the season opener because he sustained an injury, you know what I'm saying? Nothing you can do about that, but it definitely hurt Dallas, and it may have even hurt the league a little bit. See, this was a Sunday evening game. This was the first game, I'm sure, that a lot of people watched, and there's no doubt that they could have left a better impression if Landry Jones had been out there. But again, nothing you can do about that. With that said, Jordan Ta'amu from the Battlehawks looked promising. 209 passing yards with another 77 yards on the ground for a 22-year-old QB. The dude looked impressive for sure. Now, the Battlehawks only put up 15 points, but between their young quarterback and running back Matt Jones, this team actually looked pretty damn good. I mean, the ground game was on point and it was well complemented by the pass game. They had one of the more balanced offenses. All right, so there's one more thing from this game that I want to mention before we move on to the news and notes. Marquette King almost had one of the greatest punts you ever have seen.
And he's punted the ball way too many times if you're St. Louis.
I concur.
This is another laser.
I concur, but whenever the wide receivers drop balls, you need a punter to save you with a perfect. What is he doing?
What in the world?
What?
Bruh. So after week 1, your undefeated teams are the DC Defenders, the St. Louis Battlehawks, Houston Roughnecks, and the New York Guardians. All right, that's it for the recaps. Let's talk attendance, ratings, news, and notes. Let's get it. ESPN PR reported that Saturday's first game between the Defenders and the Dragons peaked at 4 million viewers and averaged 3.3 million viewers. Fox also said that ratings were strong on their end as well. Now, this is great, but the AAF got 2.9 million views in their first game, but by the second weekend, that thing dropped off dramatically, and a few weeks later, the league was no more. And while I do wish that Sunday's games could have been as exciting as Saturday's, I still feel like the XFL did enough to where their week 2 numbers should still be decent. I do expect to see a drop off. You see this in almost everything. The premiere is always going to be the highest thing. Before I did these type of videos, I used to do gaming like a few years ago. Episode 1 of every series always is going to have more views than episode 2. People are coming in for curiosity. You're only going to retain a percentage of those. The question is, how high is that percentage? We will know come this weekend. As far as ticket sales from actual fans showing up to the game, every single game sold north of 17,000 tickets. This was a phenomenal day. They did great. As I mentioned in the last video, they sold more tickets on week 1 than the AAF sold in its entire existence. With that being said, fellow YouTuber Urinating Tree made a damn good point over on Twitter. Check out what he had to say. One thing I'll say about the XFL stadium selection, they need to focus more on those with a capacity around 20,000 or so. The atmosphere in DC was so much more intimate than at MetLife. They both had the same attendance. What's the difference? Capacity. MetLife looked cavernous. He hit it on the head. He's 100% right. That DC game was live, bro. You could feel the energy, like watching through the broadcast. You could hear it, you could see the excitement, and it just creates a great environment to play football at. Once you take that same amount of fans and just put them in a way bigger stadium that's designed to hold like 4 times as many people, it's gonna look empty, and then you get pictures like this. It looks really bad on TV. The players don't have the same energy, and the fans don't have the same energy because that thing is not packed. The Jets and the Giants sometimes have trouble trying to sell out MetLife Stadium. It's designed to hold like 80,000 people. It's a great stadium, and it's great that the XFL was able to secure it, but it would just make a lot more sense if they could get somewhere with a much smaller capacity, which would make things look a lot more full. Again, 18,000 people at an XFL game is a huge win, but it looks like an L when you put those 17,000 people in the stadium that's supposed to hold 80,000. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the thumbs up button. Hit me up in the comment section. I'm gonna holler at you next time, fellas. My name is FlemLo Raps. 1.